Now, just in our last few minutes, we've talked a lot about how to deal with things in terms of developing that culture of accountability. You can do all this stuff, all kind of bells and whistles. Maybe you've got one person. It's not really the team. It really is one person over and over and over. That's when you want to try to kick into, okay, a different gear. How do I deal with that individual problem? And the first thing you want to do is customize your response to the cause. Most people typically fail to be accountable either because they can't or they won't. But you've got to discern the difference. Is she not doing it because she can't do it? In which case, what might I want to do? Yeah, either find somebody that can, or training or mentorship or something, but working on the ability side of it. But that's different than, oh no, she could do it. She just won't do it. Then that's a different conversation. Maybe it's a motivation issue, it's acknowledgement, maybe she's overqualified, maybe she's just not in the right role. So again, it's really, really important to determine what's really the cause. It's like going to a doctor. If they just kind of throw you some pills, but they don't take the time to figure out what's really causing it, the pills probably aren't going to help you a whole lot. So you've got to figure out what's really underneath it. One of the techniques also that I use is the 3 magic questions, because we learned, or I learned years and years ago, we had so many issues with you ask someone to do something, you delegate, and then you ask them, well, okay, now, do you understand? Now, what's the answer to, now, do you understand? Yes. Does that mean they understood? No. Okay, I've got a 20-month-old. And I promise you, just from my tone and the look on my face, he knows the answer to, now do you understand? Okay? Doesn't mean they understand. So what we decided was that is a worthless question. We don't ask, do you understand? Instead of asking that for important tasks or for people that we haven't worked with very much, we ask these 3 magic questions. Oh, just tell me, what's your understanding? You're asking them to repeat it back. Why do I want to do that? To make sure they got it, to confirm it. It's amazing. You can say something and they can sit there and smile, and then you ask them to repeat it back, and you wonder if they heard what you said. I mean, they give you a completely different version of what you just said that you wouldn't have gotten if you didn't actually ask. So ask them to repeat it back. Ask them what the deliverable will look like. Because I promise you, a lot of times we use these vague phrases like, oh, I want you to come up with a business plan. I want you to come up with a recommendation, a communications plan. Business plan to you might be completely different than business plan to her. You might be thinking you're sending me an email with 3 paragraphs. You might be thinking an Excel spreadsheet. You might be thinking it's a PowerPoint document with 50 slides in the deck. Get real clear. Is it going to be a Word document? Is it going to be a table? What are going to be the fields in the table? Describe the deliverable. We even got so detailed with our projects that we would literally ask the task owners to give us a sample of what the deliverable was going to look like, or a blank sample, a previous sample, something to ensure we were on exactly the same page. And then the last question, what are the first 3 steps you're going to take to begin working on this task? Again, there's some people that until they tell me that level of detail, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night because I really don't know what they're doing. So that gives me a sense of whether or not we're on the same page. And then again, if they're individuals, I know we're running short on time, so I don't want to go through all of these, but look at what their motivators are, what might motivate them. Maybe they need a little bit of motivation. We talked about the ground rules, but you want to distinguish slacking from another issue. It's not going to help to crack the whip if they're motivated, but they just can't do it. So you've really got to try to figure out what the issue is. If it's serious, you might want to pull them offline, figure out what's going on. I had one woman on my team, I thought she was slacking. I found out like her daughter had been diagnosed with leukemia. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't just really taken some time, gone to lunch, tried to figure out what in the world was going on. Maybe assign them a mentor or request an interim deliverable. You need to figure out really carefully and quickly, who can I assign something to and I can give them 2 weeks, or who do I need to check in with me maybe every 2 or 3 days to ensure we're really, really on the same path.